Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Joe. As again I say in my post, I'm going to be doing movies, TV, sports, and more. Today is going to be sports. Last couple of weeks I've been putting on my post that I'm going to be posting. I'm going to be starting my NFL post. I've been kind of backtracked the last couple of weeks. I did one or two movie reviews over the last couple of weeks, but I've been kind of backtracking on getting my NFL post started. So I'm going to do my first NFL post today. At least twice a week leading up to the beginning of either preseason or the NFL season, or leading up to the beginning of the season, I'm going to be posting my predictions and thoughts for each division. Today I'm going to be starting with the Nfc East. Now, for the longest time, this was called the Nfc Least. It was pretty much a one-sided division. This division this year, I think it's going to be a lot more competitive. I don't think nobody's going to supersede the Philadelphia Eagles. I don't believe it. I think the Philadelphia Eagles are still the most strongest team in this division. Every team has made some great additions, and they've also had some major losses. But a lot of these teams have some great additions. The Philadelphia Eagles is the only team I said that pretty much stayed the same, and I'm going to go by each team individually. We're going to go ahead and start with the defending NFC champs, NFC East champs, and also defending Super Bowl champs, the Philadelphia Eagles. Like I said, this team pretty much has stayed the same. They really didn't have too much major shakeup. Carson Wentz is on pace to be back to start the regular season so far, but we're going to see how that goes. Now, I'm not going to drag on too long because I don't want this to be all night, because we can be all night if you talk about each and every transactions. But I'm going to talk about notable additions and losses for each team. But like I say, starting with the Philadelphia Eagles. The notable losses the Philadelphia Eagles has is LeGarrette Blount. They lost him in free agency. He ended up signing with Detroit. Torrey Smith was traded to Carolina. Britt Selleck was cut. Kind of saw that one coming eventually. Now additions, even though they lost Torrey Smith, they did gain Mike Wallace. They were about the same, in my opinion. They're both in those stages in their career where it really depends on the offense they were in. Now, Torrey Smith was still very productive in the Philadelphia offense. Why they traded him, I really still don't get. Now, the one thing that really shocked me was Seattle traded Michael Bennett to the Philadelphia Eagles. I did not see that one coming. So, offensively on paper, with the exception of the loss of LeGarrette Blount and the loss of Torrey Smith, the offense is still looking the same. Quarterback-wise, you're still going to have Carson Wentz. Running back, you're going to have Jay Ajayi. Wide receivers, you're going to have Alshon Jeffrey and Nelson Aguilar with the addition of Mike Wallace. You're also going to have tight end Zach Ertz. In your offensive line, you're going to have Jason Peters, Steven Wisniewski, Jason Kelsey, Brandon Brooks, and Lane Johnson. Offense is still looking pretty solid and still looking pretty dangerous. Defensively, man, with the addition of Michael Bennett, along with Fletcher Cox, Brandon Graham, Timmy Jernigan, Jordan Hicks, Nigel Bradham, Cordy Nelson, Ronald Darby, Jalen Mills, Malcolm Jenkins, Ronald McLeod. Defense still looks solid too. You're looking at a team that was 7th in the league in offense and 4th in the league in defense. Now, then again, this is just on paper. We're going to see if they have the sophomore jinx the year after the Super Bowl. Can they repeat as NFC East champs or even Super Bowl champs is yet to be seen. Next team we're going to get to here is going to be the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas Cowboys is going to be pretty interesting. Last year was a little bit shake-up. You know, they had some problems on defense. Offensively, you know, the first 6 games, you know, they didn't have Zeke Elliott. That played a big difference. Even though Dak Prescott still played solidly, you can still tell they're missing that presence of Zeke. Because Zeke was pretty much what opened up them passing lanes. And Dez Bryant, he took a downturn in his career. That's one of the losses they had this year. Losses for the Dallas Cowboys. Looks like they lost Dez Bryant, like they cut Dez Bryant. They also lost Bryce Butler to free agency. I believe he signed with Arizona. Ryan Switzer ended up getting traded to the Raiders. They lost Anthony Hitchens to the Kansas City Chiefs. Orlando Scandrick was cut, and I believe he signed with the Washington Redskins. Another heavy loss was the retirement of Jason Witten. That's going to be a big blow to him because that was like their safety net. Additions wise, they did gain Deontay Thomas, wide receiver, Allen Hurns, wide receiver, and Tavon Austin, wide receiver. You got 3 people that's trying to replace the production of Dez Bryant. Solidly, I think those are 3. I think those are 3 solid pickups. You're gonna have, and we'll get to the roster in a minute, but you're gonna have Allen Hurns with Tavon Austin. I believe Terrence Williams is still there, so that might be a little solid. Another cut I believe they had defensively was Orlando Scandrick. You kind of saw that one coming too. Yeah, his production was going a little downhill there. So my thing is with the Dallas Cowboys, offensively it really depends on if Zeke shows up. If Zeke shows up, they have the potential to be just as strong because they still got the number 1 offensive line in football. There's no question about that. They still have the potential. I wouldn't say they can take the Eagles. I don't think they can take the Eagles. Even with Zeke in there, I don't think they can take the Eagles. But I could say that they're going to be really competitive in this division this year. I think this division may be the NFC Beast and not the NFC Least. This is going to be a very, very, very competitive division this year. So just looking at their depth chart, offensively, you got Dak Prescott, Zeke Elliott. You got to remind me pardon me, I'm on my computer, it's running slow. Dak Prescott, Zeke Elliott, Terrence Williams, Allen Hurns, and don't forget Tavon Austin. Tight end, you got Jeff Swam. Not who familiar with that is, but that's going to be a nice little battle in camp to see who's going to be the tight end to take Jason Witten's place. Then you got that number 1 offensive line: Tyron Smith, Connor Williams, Travis Frederick, Zach Martin, La'el Collins. Defensively, you got Malik Collins, DeMarcus Lawrence, David Irvin, Tyron Crawford, Leighton Esch, Sean Lee. Hopefully he can stay healthy this year. Jalen Smith, Byron Jones, Chidobe Azui, sorry if I pronounced his name wrong, Jeff Heath, and Xavier Woods. Now, one thing that's been hurting them defensively has been their secondary. If they can get that defense together, they can just have an average defense. And if that offense can come back swinging, they're going to be, like I said, they're going to be very competitive in this division. But like I said, this is just on paper. That's the thing with the preseason. Everything looks good on paper, but when they get the preseason, when they start playing, when we get to the regular season, let's just say, you remember the Dream Team? So, adequately quoted by Vince Young a few years back at the Philadelphia Eagles, they had, who didn't they have on that team defensively? I mean, you had Nnamdi Asomugha, you had Fletcher Cox, you had all them guys on defense, and they finished 8-8. Everybody just knew they was going to the Super Bowl the year they did. Like I would say, things look good on paper, but you have to remain to be seen when you get to the regular season. So that's the Cowboys. So now we're going to go to the next team in the division. We're going to go to the Washington Redskins. Washington Redskins had some pretty interesting moves this year. We all know that the big thing was with Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins has been tagged over the last couple of years. And he won a long-term deal. Washington wanted to give him a long-term deal because they really didn't have faith in him. Jay Gruden wasn't his quarterback. He didn't want Kirk Cousins. He was just stuck with Kirk Cousins. So Kirk Cousins, as you know, ended up leaving free agency and signing that $86 million fully guaranteed contract with the Minnesota Vikings. So that's one of their notable losses they had. Another one was Tyrell Pryor. I don't know if that's notable, but he was a receiver for them last year. Kendall Fuller, who was like one of the best slot receivers, cornerbacks in the game. They lost him in a trade with Kansas City, which I'm going to get to next, with their addition. Rashad Breeland, they lost in free agency. And then D'Angelo Hall. Before I get to D'Angelo Hall, Rashad Rashad Freeland still has not been signed yet. He does have meetings set up with both the Chiefs and the Raiders coming up today and tomorrow. And then you get into their additions. They signed, right before I get to the additions, D'Angelo Hall, longtime defensive back, safety, cornerback. He finally retired this year. That's going to be a big blow. I mean, that's that veteran presence, that mentor presence for that defense. Let's going to see how they adapt to that this year. Additions, you have Paul Richardson. They signed from Seattle. And then the big one, they traded Kendra Fuller for Alex Smith, who signed that huge, I think it was, 4-year, $94 million contract, $71 million guaranteed. Now, as a Chiefs fan, I myself personally think that Alex Smith is a hell of a lot better quarterback than Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins was somewhat of a gunslinger. Now, don't get me wrong, Kirk Cousins did have high production with less talent. Alex Smith came from a team flooded with talent. Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, Kareem Hunt. Now he's coming to another team where, and I'm going to get to the depth chart in a minute, I don't think it's as talented, but it still has talent on it. Their big problem has been running back. They really haven't had a really solid running game since Alfred Morris had those 2 good years before he ended up leaving in free agency. Or he ended up getting cut, if I'm not mistaken. So let's take a look at the Washington Redskins depth chart real quick, just to see what you're going to see what they're looking like this season. So depth chart wise, quarterback you got Alex Smith, running back you got Darius Geis, wide receivers you're going to have Jamison Crowder, Paul Richardson, Josh Jackson. Kirk Cousins put up almost 5,000 yards with these guys last year. A little over, it was almost, I think it was like 4,600 or something like that. And then now for men tight end wise, they got Jordan Reed and Vernon Davis. Now that might be a good combination because Alex Smith is very familiar with Vernon Davis back from their San Francisco 49er days. So, and then the thing is, Alex Smith loves throwing to the tight ends, and Jordan Reed is a good young, when he stays healthy, productive tight end. But we're gonna see what happens with that. Then offensive line wise, you got Trent Williams, Tony Bergson, Trace Roller, Brandon Sheff, Morgan Moses. Defense is it's kind of, now they lost Rashad Breeland and then they lost also Kendall Fuller. But cornerback wise, they're still going to have Josh Norman and Fabian Morrow, but Josh Norman's going to have to pick up slack. Strong safety, they're going to have Monte Nicholson. Free safety, G.J. Swearinger. On the defensive line, they're going to have Jonathan Allen, Stacey McGee, Deron Payne. And then linebacker-wise, they're going to have Mason Foster and Zach Brown. And they also have Preston Smith and also Ryan Kerrigan. So we're going to see what's going on with the Washington Redskins this year. I'm not going to say they were 16th in the league in offense, 20th in defense. It's really going to depend on the running game with these guys. Alex Smith proved that he can throw it down the field. But I'm going to be honest with you. Alex Smith needs that running game. Alex Smith is not that quarterback that can throw it 40 and 50 times a game. Kind of like what Kirk Cousins was doing. Alex Smith needs that running game behind him in order to be successful. Not knocking him at all, because I loved what he did in the 5 seasons he was in Kansas City. But a big part of his success was that running game. Well, we're going to see what's going to happen with that. Last team on the list, which I think is going to be the scariest one, that's probably going to challenge the Philadelphia Eagles. Like I say, this is what it looks like on paper. It is the New York Giants. The New York Giants, last couple of years under Ben McAdoo, I don't know what the hell this guy was doing. Oh, man. Notable losses this year. Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie, they released him. Jason Pierre-Paul, they ended up trading him to Tampa Bay. I'm still trying to understand that one. Maybe I can understand a little bit, but I still don't understand that one. But additions-wise, their offensive line just got more solid. They got Nate Solder. And then running back wise, which is one thing that's been hurting them over the last few years as well. They got Jonathan Stewart, and they just drafted Saquon Barkley. So Saquon Barkley and Jonathan Stewart together, that could be that nice 1-2 punch in the backfield that they've been missing for so long. Then defensive wise, they also acquired Alec Ogletree in the trade. So let's just take a look at their roster here real quick. So just to give you an idea of what they're looking like, again, on paper. Like I say, everybody looks good on paper. It's just what you do on the field during the regular season. Hit me up about week 5. Let 3 or 4 games go by. Then come week 5, then we'll see what they really look like. Because 1 or 2 games really don't tell the tale. Always wait till about week 5, then you'll see what the team is really like. So let me take a look at let's take a look at the roster and the depth chart for the New York Giants. You gotta forgive me. I'm low tech here, so I can't, bring everything up on the screen so you can see it. I'm still trying to learn all that stuff myself. So here on the depth chart, okay. So depth chart wise, as I was saying, quarterback, they're gonna have Eli Manning. How much longer he's gonna be their quarterback remains to be seen. There was even rumors that they were even thinking about trying to trade up to draft. Well, I mean, they already traded up, but instead of drafting Saquon Barkley, I heard they was almost thinking about taking Sam Darnold. But I thought that was a smart move for them to take Saquon Barkley. I myself personally would have thought Saquon Barkley would have been a better fit in Cleveland, but Saquon Barkley in New York Giants was also a perfect fit as well because they drastically needed a running back. And if you ever watch any of those Penn State games, man, good grief, what that guy did. Guy's phenomenal. So like I said, quarterback, you got Eli Manning. Running back, you're going to have Saquon Barkley and Jonathan Stewart. Wide receiver wise, you're going to have Odell Beckham, Sterling Shepard, Corey Latimer, Roger Lewis. And I think they still have Brandon Marshall, or did they release Brandon Marshall? I can't remember right off. Tight end wise, you got Evan Ingram. Left tackle, like I say, Nate Solder is going to help solidify that line, which is much needed now that they got this running game. And I think that running game is going to be so deadly because it's going to open up them lanes, and we're going to go back to seeing the old Eli. And I can tell you right now, if Eli makes it to the playoffs, I'm putting my money on Eli. Because Eli, when he gets to the playoffs, generally he gets to the Super Bowl and he wins it. It's 2 quarterbacks I really don't like to bet against in the playoffs. And one is Eli, and the other one is Joe Flacco. Yeah, you heard me say Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco sucks in the regular season, but when he gets to the playoffs, for some reason, the guy just is on another level. But that's just me. I'm probably gonna get shot for saying Joe Flacco, but in the playoffs, the guy's like crazy. Okay, so defensive wise, even though they lost JPP and DRC, let's see who they have here. They have Josh Morrow, Damon Harrison, Dalvin Tomlinson, B.J. Goodson, Alec Ogletree, Olivier Vernon, Kareem Martin, Janoris Jenkins, along with William Gay at Janoris Jenkins and Eli Apple at quarterback. So secondary is looking pretty good, and Landon Collins. Free safety, I think that's going to be a camp battle to see who gets that last spot. So my prediction here, oh man, this is going to be a very, very, very competitive year. I would say it's a possibility that 3 playoff teams may come out of this division. But it's too early to say that because you still got other divisions. You still have, you still got the NFC West. You got the 49ers. Like they're going to be up and coming. The LA Rams, the stuff they're doing. Seattle and Phoenix, yeah. And then you got the NFC. Then you got the NFC South. I mean, New Orleans. New Orleans always look top notch. Tampa, to me, they're done. Carolina, I think they may make a push for either the division or they may make a push for a wild card. Atlanta also may make a push for a wild card. But it just remains to be seen. Like I say, it's what's on paper. It's all what's on paper. So my prediction for the NFC East, here's my prediction for the NFC East. And I may get popped in the head for saying this, but I'm just going to go and say it. Philadelphia Eagles, New York Giants, Washington Redskins, Dallas Cowboys. Sorry, Dallas, I got to put y'all at the bottom because the Eagles are still solid. They really haven't lost anybody. They're pretty much putting the same team on the field. The highest competition he's going to get is from New York, and I won't be surprised if New York somehow tops Philly, but I'm not putting my money on that. Next is Washington. Even though they got Alex Smith, there's just still too many other questions on offense. There's no solid running game, and the defense is still kind of questionable. Even though they have Josh Norman in the secondary, their defense is still kind of questionable. And Dallas, it's just too many questions with Dallas for me. It just really depends on Zeke, what Zeke does. And the wide receiver core too. It just really depends on what that wide receiver core too. Tavon Austin didn't pan out in L.A. Allen Hurns, he was solid in Jacksonville. But like I said, it's just too much. It's just too much what ifs and too much unreliability and too many questions in Dallas for me to even put them above anybody else. So unfortunately, Dallas is going to be in the bottom tier. So this is my prediction on the NFC East. Tune in for my next post. It's going to be sometime this week. I'm going to be doing my prediction on the NFC West. NFC West is also going to be looking good too. I'm going to be really looking forward to see what Jimmy G is going to be doing in San Francisco this year. Is he going to bring San Francisco back to prominence? Back like they were a few years ago when they had Alex Smith, Colin Kaepernick, Jim Harbaugh quarterback. Remains to be seen. And this is my post for today, my first NFL post. Can't wait for this season to get started. I'm looking forward to talking to you guys. Please hit that subscribe button. Like I say, be sure for my next post. Be sure to share my post, like this post. Salty Alligator again. Thanks for my coming to my channel. I'll let y'all later.